Hello everyone. I wanted to hop on today and talk to you guys about manifestation and a bit about timing and how I believe everything works when it comes to manifesting what we want into our lives. And this channel, we talk about manifestation, magic, spirituality, and more. So this is just some thoughts on my behalf. Obviously, I don't know everything. I'm learning just like everyone else. If you have stuff that you want to add or share, please do so in the comments because it really helps all of us become better at this. So I believe we're all manifesting constantly our dream lives. We just perfectly are manifestors. Our thoughts are turning to things, and not just our thoughts, but we're actually manifesting based on how we're feeling and our overall vibration. So when it comes to timing and manifestation, this is a really tricky thing because often, like, we think we need to see immediate results, or maybe something you feel like you've been in vibration for a long time with something and maybe it's not showing up. Well, it's kind of like planting a seed, where if you plant a seed, you don't just expect that the seed is going to pop up overnight. You know, you believe that it has to stay in the ground and you have to water it and it has to have some darkness. And then, sure enough, you'll have your plant start sprouting. But each seed has a different length to how much time it's going to take to germinate. And that's the same with having your vibration and your manifestations come to reality. I don't believe that there's a set time for anything. I believe that we are constantly attracting. So we, for instance, if we feel the lack of something and we really, really want something, we're also maybe feeling like we don't have it, that we aren't happy, like we're feeling emotions that aren't fully in the having of that thing. And I think that's why the law of assumption is emphasizes really like feeling like you have something before you have it. And this is important because sometimes we're in really poor conditions. Say we're poor or we're having a hard time, we lost our job. Well, how do we feel abundant? How do we feel like we actually have a job when we don't? And maybe some days you can stay optimistic and be like, yeah, like I know a job's coming and money always flows and all these things. There's a little bumblebee on my phone right now that just landed. That's super cute. But that's that's reminding me of just like working, and they work so hard. Bumblebees actually only produce a teaspoon of honey in their entire life, and they fly to like I forget how many flowers, but it's so many, and a bumblebee is, I don't believe that they're thinking negatively about it. They're just like in joy of the whole process, and they're going to get their nectar and their honey, and they're probably just in that moment. And I feel like animals are often in that moment, which is funny because Cheeky here, she's our not my dog but my partner's parents, they often animals are just in the moment and they're in their flow. And I think they're also perfect manifestors. They're manifesting their reality based on like what they're experiencing. Little bumblebee's so cute. He thinks I'm a flower, I guess. But basically, there's a huge emphasis on needing to have faith and needing to trust in the process. And that's the number one thing for things to come into your life faster, is to be able to set aside the worry of if it's going to come. And I know that can be the hardest thing. I think it's one of the hardest things, or I struggled with it for a long time, because you're like, you have to have blind faith and just trust that this isn't woo woo, and you have to just, really hand it over to God or hand it over to the law of attraction. And you do have to 100% believe in it, and you have to just accept and trust that this is truth and this is how the world's working around you. And then you start to see it happening firsthand on really big things, and that just confirms your trust and your belief more and more. but it can be really hard to, you know, like some things manifest this way, some things manifest that way, and sometimes you manifest things that aren't good into your life and you're like, why would this happen, or why would this come to terms? It's not like you're choosing the exact outcome for something, and that timing is pretty much everything. Is like you really have to hand over the duration of how long it's going to take to germinate your manifestation and how long it's going to take for your manifestation to really bear its fruits, I guess. Because when it comes to manifestation, I believe that you have to have the inner like the working components with everyone else that's happening at that same time, because we're with so many other people. Like, it's not like God's going to take something away from someone else to hand it to you. He's going to meet their vibration and their attraction towards something. So sometimes you need like the components of other people or the universe or even animals or, you know, plants, I think, to work in harmony with what you're pulling into your life. And it usually is to benefit everyone. There's not going to be, I don't believe God or universe like spites people and says, oh, well, this person's doing the manifestation work, they're going to get this. No, it's just all about like alignment and bringing everyone's manifestations together at the same time. And I've talked about this in another video, is that God doesn't see timing as like the beginning, now, and later. It's like he sees all of it as one thing. And it says in the Bible, and there's other things that talk about this, that he's like the Alpha and the Omega, which means the beginning and the end. It's like he can see the ruler and he can see every little step along the way, and he can look down and see this timeline as it's all happening at once. And I don't believe we have that perspective. Like, often humans, we think everything is just unfolding and unraveling in a certain way. Well, I feel like it's so much bigger. That's just the way that we can comprehend what's going on, because we're in a material matter world, but there's so much more, and it's all really happening at the same time. And that it's, I know it sounds like woo-woo if you're not used to that concept, but it's so much bigger than us. And when we think in just a limited way of, like, you know, even duration of when you expect a timing, you're putting limitations on it, because it could come quicker and it can also take longer. So you just have to give up on time altogether and just really go into the feeling of trust and knowing. And then you'll get so confident, and your beliefs will grow stronger in the trusting and the knowing. You're going to go straight to just expecting it. And that's when things really are just like happening, like in front of your eyes. And it just reinforces your faith and really gives you more belief that this is all true. And then you're just constantly going to be manifesting more of the true desires, because you're going to be aware of, like, when you manifest something you don't like, that's just temporary. And that's just part of it, you know. Like, sometimes we have bad days and we're going to have fears about things, and we're going to call things into our lives that maybe we're not that stoked about. And that's okay, because you know that there's the opposite of that, and that's working for your benefit too. So it's much easier to stay optimistic and positive when you just hand over the idea of time and really just have to believe in this. And I know belief, like, I struggled with that one a lot. I was always like, how do I believe? How do I know? How do I have faith? How do I trust? You know, like, so many questions always went through my head about how I get there. And really, you only get it by surrendering and going through it and just, you know, testing it out for yourself. And when things pop into your head that are fear, or you have doubts, you just have to push them aside, and you have to just keep going, keep trusting, and then you're going to start to see it. And then you're not going to have those fears in the same way, you know. And I'm not saying to not take action to your dreams and to just, like, you know, quit whatever you're doing and just trust that everything's going to be handed to you on a silver platter. I believe, like, it's inspired action, And you really need to just be going into your heart space and acting on like what you feel is true for you in your heart. And you can you can be doing things that you don't necessarily love, and like you can still be working your job and still be doing stuff, but finding the things that you love about that job so that you can call in the bigger next step, and just really going through life in more of a peaceful way, because you have a deep knowing that everything's working out for you and everything's happening in the best case scenario. And those are just some affirmations that you can tell yourself constantly when like doubt and fear creep into your head, that everything's always working out for me, best case scenario. You can tell yourself, I don't need to worry, I am a perfect manifester, my positive thoughts are going to be benefiting me, these fear thoughts aren't benefiting me in any way. Things like that. You can make up your own affirmations, whatever feels best for you, to really confirm that this is, you know, this is the truth for you, and this is going to help you so much. And 1111, you can make a wish and make that wish, and allow yourself to dream and allow yourself to feel good about it. And don't let that fear sink into your head that this is woo or crazy, and you're going to see it manifesting before your eyes. That's all I wanted to hop on and say. I hope you all have a lovely day, and sending you all lots of blessings and good vibes. Ta-ta for now. Bye.